Uncle Johnny's bedtime stories.
Hello again, and thanks for tuning back in to Uncle Johnny's bedtime stories. Today's story is called Brotherly Love, and it's a story about my little brother, who we are going to call Uncle Simon from now on. Uncle Simon's going to feature in more than a few of these stories, but today he's the star. Simon's about 4 years younger than me, so in this story, I think I would have been maybe 10 or 11, which means he was about 6 or 7. We used to tease Simon quite a bit for having an abnormally large head, as you can see in this photograph.
It's not that big.
So it's his oversized noggin that's the real star of the show today, as you're about to find out. To be clear, what I'm about to tell you is how we tried to break his head open on at least 3 separate occasions, although I might only have time for one today. Wait and see. For this story to make sense, I have to really quickly explain the who touched it last rule. You might have heard of this rule before, especially if you live in a household like we did, where there was several young people. We had 4. I guess if you were an only child, this rule wouldn't really be a big deal. Let's imagine first I'm by myself and I'm thirsty. So I get out a cup, I get out the water jug, pour myself a drink. Refreshing and delicious. Okay, I have to put it away because I got it out. Makes sense. Well, consider the following situation. We have 2 people. So let's imagine person number 1 gets out the water jug, pours themselves a drink. Person number 2 sees the water jug is out, pours themselves a drink as well. It makes sense now that because this person did all the work to get the jug out, this person who also benefited from that should put the jug away. No worries. The problem arises when we now have 3 people, because person number 1 got the jug out, person number 2 and 3 both see that the jug is out, person number 2 has a drink, person number 3 has a drink. Now, we have a slight problem, because one of these 2 people probably should put the jug away, but one of them won't have to, which means they didn't have to do any work. So, in came the who touched it last rule. If it so happened that this person got the jug out, these people had a drink, this person was last to get a drink, they would then put the jug away. In theory. The reason why this rule is brilliant is it doesn't matter how many people are in the situation now. There could be like 10 of these guys here. Whoever got it out, doesn't matter. The last person to get a drink puts it away, alright? Arguments disappear. Or so they should anyway. Of course, there's only a problem when you add humans into the situation. In this case, there were 3 of us. Simon, myself, and Auntie Belinda. All 3 of us were home. I'm assuming we got home after school, and like a lot of the time, Mum and Dad were out on the farm, working. We're unsupervised. I can only imagine there were no adults here for what is about to happen next. The 3 of us were eating Granny's delicious gingerbread slice out of a Tupperware container, something like this. We all had some slice, but I'm pretty sure Auntie Belinda was the last person to grab a piece, which is where the who touched it last rule comes into play. Uncle Simon, spotting the fact that Belinda was the last person to pick up a piece of slice, called out in his tiny little 6-year-old voice, "You touched it last, you need to put it away, ha 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 ha!" And I am making this up a little bit, because I can't exactly remember the words, but I'm sure Belinda said something like, "Oh yeah!" And then she threw the lid of the slice in a perfect frisbee straight across the room. Allow me to demonstrate. Auntie B threw this lid across the kitchen in a perfect frisbee, and it hit Simon squarely in the chest. Now, according to the rules of who touched it last, Uncle Simon would need to put the slice away. I was involved in this as well because I'd also been eating the slice. Belinda and I immediately legged it. We ran all the way down the hallway to the bedroom. So I hid behind the bed. Belinda hid behind the door, but the door was like half open. Something like, I guess, can you see this? Like this, hiding like this. We're hiding behind the door, behind the bed, and we can hear Simon's feet as he pitter-patters down the hallway, as he marches towards us with the lid in his hand, preparing to make someone else be the person who has touched it last. I'm there, crouched behind the bed, giggling my head off. Belinda's hiding behind the door, holding her breath. Simon pauses outside the door, just long enough for our adrenaline levels to spike like through the roof. They're dialed up to 11 now. We are both peeking out because he's about to come around the door and throw the lid at one of us, and then we will be the one that touched it last. Instead of marching through, he pokes his head around the door, or at least he tries to. Belinda, holding her breath, freaking out. Just as Simon is about to poke his head around the door, she slams it. She literally slams the door on Simon's head. His head is like the meat in the door sandwich. Pow! Oh man. Oh, the noise as his head. Oh, and the squealing. Now, I'm pretty sure neither Granny nor Grandpa were home at this time, because if they were, Belinda and I must have been in so much trouble, but I don't remember getting in trouble for any of this. Then again, if they hadn't been home and we'd actually split his head open and there was blood going everywhere, I do not know what we would have done. So, poor old Simon would have been bawling his head off, but you know what? Auntie Belinda put the slice away. So I guess in the end he got what he wanted, although probably not the way that he wanted it. If you like this story, tune in next week for Brotherly Love Part 2, where once again we try to crack Simon's head open. Thanks for tuning in.
Uncle Johnny's bedtime stories.